Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to look at how we can use HTML snippets to help us improve our coding efficiency. So I've got an example here. We've just finished our index.html and we've basically done our style sheet, and if we have a look, we can see that we've got a basic sort of web page sort of up there. We're pretty happy with ourselves. And so the next step obviously would be to so we've coded the About Us page, that's the index, but maybe the next page we want to do is adopting a cat, right? So what we want to do is copy index.html and then, modify all this stuff in here so that it's related to adopting a cat. Now the problem with that is really we're only modifying a small chunk of the page. The header, well, let's have a look at the structure before we go on. So we might make a bit more space here. So this is the body here. This is obviously these all have contents. I've collapsed the parts of it, the main parts, just so you can see. So I've got basically so up here, like I've got a header, right? So the header is this chunk here. I've got a nav, and that's this chunk here, right? I've got a sidebar, and that's this chunk here. The body is obviously, or the main rather, is this part here, and that scrolls down, the main. And finally down the bottom we've got a footer. Now, and as I mentioned before, really the only thing we're changing is the main. Now our problem is that, well, there's two problems. One, if we want to make a change after we've copied this page a few times in the header or the nav or whatever's been duplicated between pages, you've got to change it in multiple places. So it's not too bad if you've got 2 pages, but once you've got 5 pages, it starts to become a bit of a pain. And after you've got 10 pages, it becomes a real issue because you may not be consistent in your changes. The other place where this code snippet really works well is that, take for instance this example here. So at the moment what I've got is I haven't completed the coding on the header. So this part here will eventually be a search bar, but at the moment all it is an image. So I've got more coding to put in there. Now when I do that coding, I'm going to have to put it in every single place that I've put that code in, which would be in every single page, which isn't good. So the idea of snippets are to isolate the parts of the page that aren't going to change between pages and put them off to a separate file, and then just include that file as like an include, almost like you're including with your CSS. Now unfortunately there is no real HTML command to do that. There's no HTML include command. And so we have to use some clever JavaScript. But we don't need to understand the script. We just need to include it in our document, and then we can use it. So we might go through a bit of example to explain how this will work. So the first thing we would do, I guess, is we'd look at our header and we'd say that's the first thing that really needs to come out. So what we might do is we might create a file called header.html. And I'm tempted actually to create a subdirectory. I might create a new folder actually. I might call it HTML snippets, just to keep things nice and tidy. And I'll put the header in HTML snippets. Yep. Okay. So I've got this file. It's got nothing in it. So let's go in here, grab the code off the header. Let's just grab the whole thing and Control X, and instead I'll put it in this file here. Okay, so that's containing the HTML we want now. So what we need now is a methodology so that when this HTML is displayed, it'll grab this and include it in this spot here, right? So we need to include HTML snippet. Okay, Control C. Okay, so what we need is a script to start with. So the script, just close that down. The script is, I've already included it, it's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a Google Doc. In fact, what I'll do is I'll delete it there, and I'll put the link for the doc in the YouTube video. It's not my script, somebody else wrote it. I'm just borrowing it. I couldn't find the location I got it from, so I can't credit it. And when I do find it, the location I got it from, I will credit it. But for our purposes, if we go and grab that document, which I should have opened to start with. Okay, it's here. If we just grab this bit of code, so I'll give you a link to this file, grab this bit of code, Control C, go back over here, Control V. It all goes on one line, and that's it. That's that's like a document, a JavaScript function that will do the include for us. Now we just have to say include. Now I've got an example of that also on that document, so let's have a look here. So the way to do it now is you just put this in your HTML, Control C, Control V, and this is including the header.html. So for us, I've actually got a HTML snippets directory, so I need to change this to HTML snippets, and then do it like that. Okay, and now when this runs, it will go and grab this bit of code and insert it in place of this code here. And we can see that it's still running, so it's working. And I presume if we take that out, if we take that include out, you can see our header disappears up there, right? So it works really well. And that should refresh. Ah, that's because I've got my directory wrong. So don't forget, you've got to make sure that you specify your folders. If you create a new folder, you've got to specify it there, HTML snippets / and then it appears. So fantastic. So this is what I would go and do for every single element in this page that is repeated. So say, for example, this nav bar is going to be the same in every single page. So I would take my nav out, I would put it in a snippet, and I would just include the page. I would do an include like this for the nav. I would also do that for the footer. And depending on whether the sidebar is different for different pages, you could do it for the sidebar as well. If it's the same for all the pages, you could definitely do it. So hopefully you find this helpful. It's certainly very useful, and it's kind of strange that it's not part of HTML, that they haven't included this built in and that we've got to put this script in. But it works quite well, and it seems to be quite reliable. So give it a go, and you'll find that you'll really find the benefit of it once you start creating multiple page sites. See you in the next video.